Hello, it's Elizabeth. I'm here in my art loft ready to show you my fourth in a series of lap journals. This one I made with the green file folders using the gel plate prints that I made from my jelly plate. And when I chose this one and saw the little lines here, it reminded me of the little picket fences at the beach, and I decided to go ahead and make this one have a little bit of a beachy feel, putting in a few shells, which are not my jelly plates, obviously, and a few dragonflies, because dragonflies are found at the beach. So this is a jelly print that I made using a copper tone and a turquoise blue, and the turquoise blue, the paints that I'm using are called Pearl Acryls. They're from Lascaux, L-A-S-C-A-U-X. It's beautiful paints. They have a lot of pigment in them, probably more than I need to use for the jelly plate, but I had these for a while, so I'm using them, not using them up hopefully, but using them on the plate and having great fun doing so. The dragonfly here and the little saying that says explore came from a K & Company set of little die cuts. It had like 120 or 240 or whatever it is. Everything from butterflies, dragonflies, little sayings, flowers, other things like that. So, and the washi tape is, I believe, from Ranger. I used the washi tape to put in my main envelopes, my main pockets. And here's the other side of that front print that you see. When I do mine, I like to have this lap over here so that you have something in between those two and they don't have to come together perfectly, because if you put a lot of stuff in your junk journal, in your lap journal, it might spread apart even more so that you see even more of that paper. But I know that some people don't do that, and that's okay too. Okay, here is another jelly print that I did. This one has the blues, and this one's using the Extreme Sheen from Deco Arts. That's what the gold is on the front. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see the shine. It's a good shine to it. And the dragonflies are, this is a rub-on, and this is one of those die-cut ones from the K & Company. Okay, on this side, or in the middle, I have a trifold, which is added to the main pocket. The main pocket is this, and the main pocket is hinged into the lap journal using the washi tape on each side of it. And the trifold then is a separate folder that's added to that, and I put score tape on 3 sides of it, so there's a pocket in behind it as well. Here is a jelly print made with various colors, and this one's on black paper, as you can see. I did do copper, a little bit of copper around the edges using my nope, I didn't have that here. Anyway, I'll find that out for you and put that in the description. The colors, the design here is done with a piece of scrapbooking paper that I laid on my jelly print instead of a stencil. It's one that was die-cut, a die-cut piece of scrapbook paper. Okay, the belly band is a piece of man, I'm just not doing it today. It's a piece of tracing paper that's 45-pound tracing paper, and these pieces that are on here are from a Borders group that's a K & Company thing. The little seashells are also from a K & Company set that had this in it. And here we have a couple more samples of my jelly print. These are just on white bond type paper. It's not actually typing paper, it's a larger sheet than that. I bought a bunch of that when I was doing some bookmaking, and just I'm using some of that up. In the previous ones, I think I did a pocket similar to this that had the die cut, that had a cut around and then, you know, on each side and kind of a circular thing so that you could put in multiple tags or a single tag if you like. Again, these are my own jelly prints. You see that one has a lot of different shimmer to it. This one I printed by having a piece of, a large piece of paper that I had wrinkled up and then straightened out again, and I used it to subtract some of the ink off of my plate before I printed that with the multicolors. This one has some of the squares from that same scrapbook paper. This one is stencil, an actual stencil. Piece of a stencil, not much of one. And this one I think just happened because the paint wasn't sticking very well, but I liked the way it looked, so I kept it. I have a little dragonfly there. This is from a set of Nature's Illusions dragonflies, which are, that's the company, Nature's Illusion 3D Pop-Up Decorative Stickers. And here we have another K & Company little piece from these set of things. That's a piece of this same paper. It's on the side. You can see it's the same colors. Pretty colors. I like the purples and greens and blues and golds and coppers all together. I'm not really fond of yellow on things. You can see that in most of this, I think. I don't really have much yellow, except for gold. But gold's different because it's shiny. Shiny's always good. So we can close the trifold. When we close the trifold, then we have the little picture frame here with a little, this is printed on both sides. And this is another scrapbooking paper that I used as a stencil. It has all that intricate cuts out, and when I laid it down, then I put the blue paint down, and then I laid the stencil, the paper on top of it, and then I laid this paper on top of it. And when you rub through it, then it picks up all the background as blue. This side has several stencils on it. I don't know which all there are on that one. On the bottom, I had a little fun here. I made a little pocket, a little tuck-in space with gluing two sides of this swirl embellishment. And then I used one of my one of my jelly plate prints that I thought looked like sand and sea, and put that in behind it. And then this little fish came with the same thing as the dragonflies and so on. And it was just another little K & Company embellishment that you could put on cards or whatever you wanted to do with it, and I just thought he looked really good in there with all that swirly blue around him. He sits in there really nicely. Just pokes his little head out. Has a little sparkly eye. And behind that, I showed you that. And then the main pocket has a sheet of paper in it. This one's 8 by 10. This one was done on a piece of actual scrapbooking paper, an old piece that I wasn't that fond of. And so I just added the swirls here, the blue swirls, and then the trellis type pattern. I thought it looked more like kind of flowers on a trellis. With that scrapbook paper. And of course it's white on the back. Then on the next side, I have a 2-page spread, if you call it that, with pockets or envelopes that I actually created with my jelly plate paper, and these are all the black paper. The paper that I'm using is it's supposed to be for pastels, but I find it's very forgiving for water, a little bit of water on it, not a whole lot, but it's very good about taking the jelly prints, the acrylic paint off that. Here's a 2-fold card. I think this one's particularly pretty. I like the way the black and the blue work on the inside, the edges of the trellis. That's what I'm going to call that. I thought this one looked kind of like fish. This is another piece of paper, a scrapbooking paper, and this one actually came out of the what is that called? China blue pad that I had, that I did, I think number 2 was with the China Blue scrapbooking pad, and this is one of the scrapbook papers in there, the trellis, the fishy looking stuff that makes a really pretty scrapbook paper, but it also works as well as a stencil for your jelly plate. Get back in there, you. Another one with the trellis. This one's got the fish kind of stuff in behind it. I call it fish because, of course, we're doing an aquatic theme. That one's really pretty. It shows a lot of background white. I didn't intend it to do that, but when I put my eggshell on there, then I think I rolled it too long, and the eggshell itself came off. The eggshell paint came off, and then it came up. It just had the black and the blue and the gold on there. Some more of that beautiful turquoise blue and gold pieces. These little squares are made with an actual stencil. I don't have it right here with me to tell you who it is, but I will put that in the descriptions as well. This design here, you can see that this is the stencil design itself, and this is the thing that you would pick up from between the stencils. So these two pieces of paper were made one right after the other. I coated my jelly plate in gold, and then I took up this print, and then after that was finished, I took off the stencil and did this one. The stencil for that is another piece of scrapbook paper from that same China Blue paper pad. This one is the flower stencil that we saw on the back of that one card that was in the frame, and the large part of it, and this is when you put gold on your plate and take up everything, and you can see the flowers are black, and so this is printing the background instead of printing the actual stencil itself. Oops. So this large pocket that's hinged with the washi tape contains a card, of course. Come here, you. Large jelly print. And this was done with the crinkled up paper. And behind it, we have another folder that was added on. This one was added on just as a double fold instead of a trifold like the other side. This one had another piece of the jelly paper added on here. And behind this, I've just folded some individual sheets to use as journaling space. Kind of a cute place to hide it. Come on, there we go. And I put a little spiral paper clip. I'm not sure who that's by either, and I'll check that and put that in the description as well. It just keeps it closed as you're moving things so that it doesn't flap open like those envelopes do. Here behind this, of course, is a full-size pocket. I just put a one card that was multiple prints of the jelly plate. These corners are leftover the waste part of the dots that are the golden dots that you can buy to put on things. And this is the waste part, and I cut it in triangles because I thought it needed something to reinforce the corners a little bit. Then I thought that looked a little barren, so I put a little piece of washi tape, Scor-Tape down, the little 1/8" Scor-Tape, and I had purchased this a little Cinderella kit that I used the foil transfer papers and used that on that washi. I keep saying washi tape, but you know what I mean, the Scor-Tape. I used that on the double stick Scor-Tape to make a little border on that. And behind this we have the lovely little waterfall cards that I learned to make. And you can see that they're just done with, these are all ones from a single sheet of the gel printed paper. And these are on another one. And I did frames of the blue around here with some cardstock because the jelly prints themselves, that white paper is not very heavy, so I thought it would be better on the movable cards like this to have something a little more sturdy. So that's why I matted them with the blue cardstock. Another piece from a K & Company cut out die cut stuff. This just closes up and folds like that. On the very back in the center, we have, again, 2 main pockets here with papers in them. Put this in behind it to give it a nice background to it. And these are both, this one's of the same kind as those 2 you saw in the other one that has the black paper and just the crinkled paper put on top of it. Put a little dragonfly up here for interest. And this one is one of my favorites. It looks kind of like the fish are in behind the little trellis thing, or cage, or whatever you want to call it. I hope you can see that. A lot of shine, a lot of fun to it. Did I have that one in the front? I think I had this one in the front. Okay, we'll put that in the back. This folder, when closed, is 9.5 by 11 3/4. It makes it nice size to be able to hold full-size sheets of typing paper. United States typing paper. I'm not sure about what they have in foreign countries that might work with that. Here's a little piece with the little squares, the rectangles from that stencil. This pocket goes in sideways, and then behind the pocket itself it has a little tuck spot in which I put another print. This is done with an actual stencil, not with a piece of paper that was supposed to be scrapbooking paper. And on the front of it, I have another little of these acetate die cuts that were from K & Company, and I just tucked in a piece of my jelly paper behind that. So if you have any questions, you can leave those in the comments, and if you like these, you can leave that in the comment. I hope you subscribe, and I hope you enjoy these. I will be showing you probably other books that I've made of a different type the next time, but for now I'm going to show you a couple other jelly pieces of papers that I've made with the jelly plate. Just a few. This one I did blue on blue, and it just has a little bit of shine in it. The shine is done with the a paper stencil again. The trellis looking thing is a paper stencil. This one came out very background. A lot of the other parts was missing. Actually, I think I took a print first from the plate and got most of the ink, the paint that was the blue and the gold, blue and the copper, and then I took this as a ghost print afterwards. I kind of like it though. It looks like it's a weathered something or another. This one was a little too gold, and I may reprint it, but if you look at it, it has a lot of stuff going on that you can't necessarily see as well, but like you can see a little bit there. A lot of good stuff going on here. Interesting piece right down here. Maybe too few to keep. This one, when I printed on my jelly plate, I used a rubber stamp that I had cut myself. It's a large rubber stamp this size, and it has these squares, diamonds, if you want to call them that, cut out of it. And I stamped it onto the jelly plate, and this is the actual print. And then on the reverse is when I took that stamp that I had gotten inky from putting it on the jelly plate, and then I stamped it onto the back while I was taking the ink off the plate. You can see that's the plus and the minus. See, that's the same as that one. Actually, that's the same as that one because it will be totally reversed, the stamp itself from what you get from the jelly plate. And that's done with just the plain blue. That's a Delta Ceram Coat ink. I think it's phthalo blue. I really like phthalo blue on these two. This one, a lot of my stencils are only 12 by 12, so I only get, I have a 12 by 14 plate, so the stencil comes to here, and then I have to do something with that other 2 inches, or just leave it blank. I guess I could. But this, the brick kind of pattern that I have here is a stencil that I cut from some masking paper that my sister gave me. This is the print from 2 of those scrapbook papers that you get in the China Blue pad by DCWV. This one is printed from a piece of styrofoam that I pressed things into and pushed things into and so on. And the black is what is printed from that. The rest of it was the leftovers. Well, no, it was a print that I didn't like, so I just printed over the top of it with the black. And even though it came out very reticulated and has all the little dots and so on, I still kind of like it, and I'll find something to do with some of that. It came out really blotchy in some places, so I just used the inside of a Scotch tape tape dispenser, not dispenser, but the roll itself, and made the little circles here. Now these circles here were from the plate itself. This one's kind of light, but again, it has some interesting little parts. This one's actually 2-sided. It's got my rubber stamp stuff on the other side in green. Green's not my favorite color, but I do a few of those occasionally in green. I don't think you can see much on that one. Blah. This one has very subtle flowery images. This again is those two pieces from the Die Cut with a View blue china pad, and that's the little one that looks like the fish looking things, and then the flower went in behind there. You see the flower? It's kind of gold. This on this side is a piece of the plastic canvas. I used a piece of the plastic canvas to remove ink from the plate to print that part. And the bubbly looking stuff, you can see those purple bubbles, is a real-life stencil. This one doesn't look that good. This one. This one is very subtle print. It's really black. Of course, it's on the black paper, the black pastel paper. But it has a lot of interest if you're close up to it and can look deep into the shadows. And the last one I'll show you is, again, a piece from the scrapbooking paper. This has all these letters, and I don't know if you can read it, but it says memories and other things about scrapbooking, happy times, just different things. But it gives a good texture, I think, to the plate, and that's why I used little butterflies on the edge. Of course, I had to have butterflies somewhere. Okay, well, that's it for this time, and next time maybe I'll have a different kind of book, an entirely different kind of book, so stay tuned. Keep watching, subscribe so you'll find out whenever I post a new video, and thank you for viewing. Thank you for your time, letting me spend some time with you and show you some things that I've made. If you have questions, leave them in the comment. I will get to them eventually. Thank you. Bye-bye.